Hello, this is Idodmg and welcome back to the channel. In this No Rest for the Wicked video, I want to talk to you about one of the bounties to go kill dark mages. We're going to go show the entire route of how to get there, where to find all the mages, and how to complete this bounty. It is pretty straightforward, but I know my very first time I was a little bit confused as to where you actually find the dark mages for this bounty in No Rest for the Wicked. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Once you've picked up the bounty in Sacrament, and again, this is a daily bounty that you can do, it'll give you gold and also some other random rewards. It could be a recipe, piece of armor, weapon, things like that. It tells you actually in the quest log exactly where to go. You got to go kill dark mages within Iona's Cavern in Orban Glades. If you don't remember where that's at, that's where you unlock the alchemist kind of at the very early part of the game. Once you have your quest, you're going to go ahead and you're going to head out of Sacrament. You're really just going to backtrack all the way back to the very starting area. We'll go ahead and get an apple pie ready. You know, you always got to have that buff food rolling. I always use the sirloin platter for the health buff and the apple pie for that focus buff. Those are my two main buff foods I'm always using. They're 10-minute buffs, so why not use them? So that's where the first boss is. You probably remember that. You just come right back out of here. And if you use this whisper before the first boss, you know, you can fast travel there if you want to. So the ladder to get down here is actually a little bit hidden. I know I almost missed it my first time through, but if you've knocked down the shortcut bridge, you just go right down this ladder. It's kind of hidden underneath that vegetation there a little bit. But you're going to go right into the cave. And the cave itself is pretty linear. It's just kind of a big loop that you can go through. There's a couple little hidden secrets along the way as well, with treasure chests and stuff like that. Remember, the chests do scale up to your realm as far as you progress the story and stuff, so it's worth grabbing if you want to, but if you're in a rush just to get the bounty done, that's okay too. It's kind of up to you. This is the very first dark mage you're going to kill. You can see we got the credit for killing that dark mage up there. And we're going to run over here up these vines. And if you remember this cave, I mean, it is pretty self-explanatory. I just wanted to kind of throw this out there. If anyone's kind of sitting around scratching their head like, where are the dark mages? Maybe just can't remember, something like that. I know that was me. So here's your second mage right at the top of those vines up here. And then this part you're going to drop down. And another good thing about this cave as well, and you'll see a little bit here later in the video, is there's some special ore nodes that you can get as well. So copper is your tier 1 ore. There's a couple of those in here. You can also get iron. At the very end, you can get silver as well. I'll show you that here in a little bit when we get to it. Now, one thing you want to point out too, if you're running this, you want to make sure you grab this whisper here, and you'll see why here in a minute, but there's going to be like little spectral bridges that you can go across, and you can fall off the bridge and die, especially if you're trying to rush through it. You run the risk of falling down. It's happened to me. So it's nice to have that respawn there so you don't have to run all the way back here. So I just grab that before you come down here and interact with this thing, which will then spawn those bridges that I was talking about here. Then we're going to backtrack a little bit. This bounty takes a little bit longer. I personally like the bounties that's like just go kill one mini boss or something like that. I'm not a huge fan of these, you know, especially this one. This one's a lot of running to complete the bounty, but it's, you know, it's not that like terrible, honestly. It gets you out in the world, you know, you get your steps in, stuff like that, right? Grab that chest, you'll come down here. There's a curve up here, and if you are like just sprinting through this thing, you can Tony Hawk around this corner and fall. It's happened to me more than once. Then we're going to go up the vines over here. And I was going to speed this up, but I don't know. Maybe someone wants to follow along. Maybe they're like me and they're just directionally challenged and they get lost easy. So hopefully this is helping you out here. You can see here we're almost done with the bounty. I think we have 2 or 3 left. Across these bridges, and again, if you're just sprinting through and you're not being super careful, you can fall off. So but in order to clear those gaps, you will have to have a little bit of momentum going, otherwise you'll just fall. So here we go. Here's the next little area. This part can be tricky as well. You see I take it slow right here. Learned my lesson. I fell too many times on this thing. I think actually when I was recording this video, I actually didn't fall at all, which I think may be the first time for this bounty to not fall off the edge. And that might have been the last. Yes, we completed Black Magic, the Dark Mage. But hang on, don't go anywhere quite yet. I want to show you this here as well. You can get your iron ore here that we talked about. And then I'm using the silver pickaxe. That's how I'm breaking it quicker than if you're using a copper pickaxe, something like that. And I also wanted to point out real quick, you'll see that after I get this silver ore, I kind of portal out of here to return to turn in the bounty. I guess I'm too excited. But if you go back down here, jump into the water. If you drop down in that water, down in there, there's some extra loot you can get. I think there's a chest and like a copper ore or something like that. So make sure you drop in and pick up all that extra loot if you want to, or maybe you're just in a hurry like me to get the bounty completed for that turn in. Here's the silver ore that I was talking about, and this reason this is important is because it used to be that you could just buy the already refined ingots from the vendor. You could buy your silver, iron, and copper, but they've changed it in patch 1 where you have to actually refine the ore into those ingots on your own. You cannot buy them outright from the blacksmith anymore. You're going to make sure you're hitting all those ore nodes so that you have the materials necessary to upgrade your gear. And once you get back to town here, you go ahead and turn in the Black Magic Bounty. We got a recipe, 2.5 silver, and a piece of armor or something like that. And I think the recipe actually ended up being the sirloin recipe, which I actually needed for this character. That's one of the things I want to point out too if you're running bounties is you want to make sure that if you have a character that's not level 30 yet that can quickly do the bounties, make sure you're running it with them just so you're getting that additional XP as well, since if you're playing on a level cap 30 character, you're losing out on those experience points. That's going to wrap it up for this No Rest for the Wicked Dark Mage Bounty Guide and where to find those Dark Mages so you can complete the Black Magic Bounty. Hopefully you found this video useful and or entertaining, and thank you so much for your time and hanging out with us here today. The best way to support me is through becoming a YouTube channel member today and or leaving a super thanks on the video below. Your review alone means the absolute world. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.